My sister bought my oldest son, who is 8 years old, this incredibly beautiful pair of sneakers. Incredibly beautiful. They're K-Swiss sneakers and they're white sneakers. They're so beautiful, incredibly beautiful. The first day I saw them, I was almost even jealous, man. I said, I wish I had this kind of sneakers. And you know, he wears them a lot of times when we are going out, maybe when we go to church or going for, an occasion or stuff like that. He wears them. And they always look so good when we are leaving the house. You know how white sneakers can be. You wear them with a pair of jeans, and it's just looks so classy and so nice. But the problem is, when we go out, they look incredibly good. But when we return home at the end of the day, they look anything but good. They look dirty, dusty. They look like if they've been through a war. And I find myself every time having to take a brush, an old toothbrush, and getting soap to wash it because I want to keep it as white as possible. So I find myself after we return home, going to wash this white sneakers, and so that he can wear it again whenever we're going out. So I find myself washing it very often. There's hardly any time he wears it out that I don't have to wash it before he can wear it again. And so I actually find myself giving him a lot of lectures on this pair of sneakers. And I tell him, when you're wearing this thing, you have to check where you're walking, what you are doing, that kind of thing. And I find myself monitoring his feet if I'm with him, just saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't step on this, don't put your leg on the other leg, and stuff like that. And a lot of times I just see him. He looks at me with some kind of exhaustion. He's like, what do you expect me to do? What do you expect me to do? Like, he's an 8-year-old. He doesn't understand what the force is. And I get back home and I look at the sneakers and I start giving him a lecture. Why are your sneakers this dirty? Why are the laces this dirty? Why are they this? And he doesn't even know what to say. He's almost like oblivious to what happened to make the sneakers so dirty. So you have black stains, red stains, brown stains, all yellow stains. You don't even know what it is. But you can tell his activity by just looking at his sneakers. You can tell like what he has gone through in the day and how active he has been. And a lot of times I just end up telling him, when you're wearing the sneakers, you don't go around running, you don't go around playing, so that the sneakers can stay fresh. But then it kind of dawned on me what I was doing. And I thought about it. I said, if he's going to wear these sneakers and they're going to stay clean, he would have to suspend being an 8-year-old boy. And if he's going to be an 8-year-old boy, he would have to have dirty sneakers. The sneakers can't be clean. So it's either the sneakers or him acting his age. And I thought to myself, those are the options I have. All these lectures I'm giving this boy will not work. It's either I have an 8-year-old boy or I have a clean pair of sneakers. One has to give. And when I thought about it closely, he's going to be 8 only once in his life. Only once in his life. No, being 8 years old is not going to happen again. He's going to be 8 and going to be done with it. But then there are going to be a lot of white sneakers that will be produced in various sizes all through his life. And then it became clear which was more important. Being an 8-year-old boy. A healthy 8-year-old boy that likes to play and is active. Who doesn't really care about staining his shoes. And I just allowed him be. You understand? I just allowed him be. I just stopped talking to him about the sneakers and how he ought to comport himself while wearing the white sneakers. I just said I would have to be washing the sneakers. That's the cost. But I would never mortgage him being an 80-year-old because he just has 12 months for that, to keep that before he moves to the next age. And before you know it, he's going to be an adult who has to be responsible, and there won't be childhood anymore. Now, why am I telling you the story of my son and his sneakers? Because I realize that some of you out there are like my son. You have a pair of sneakers that, metaphorically, I mean, that's stopping you from enjoying this particular phase in your life. And most of you are thinking it's worth the exchange. But I want to tell you it isn't. And what are these sneakers? And one very popular pair of white sneakers that I see a lot of young people wear right now are sometimes jobs that they have. Some of you have very, I see a lot of ambitious young people. I talk with them, they love ambition. They're like, oh man, I want to have this kind of job, or they're ambitious for this particular type of lifestyle. I want to move out of the house by the time I'm 20, 21. I don't want to be living with my parents anymore. I want to have my own apartment. I want to have my own car. I want to have a job that is able to help me maintain my apartment, my house. You understand? Have this kind of, this ambition for this independent lifestyle that looks so good in photo. When you put it on the gram, it looks so good. Just like my son's white sneakers. Whenever we take photos with it always looks so good, but nobody sees us at the end of the day when the sneakers are so dirty. And some of you have those kind of things that the optics, incredible optics, look so good. In fact, people desire it. They desire to have the life that you are portraying. But then I truly believe that some of you have lifestyles, or have accumulated lifestyles, have acquired lifestyles that's stopping you from enjoying a particular phase of your life, especially the youthful phase of your life. So, there is this hunger and bid for money. A lot of people I just want to be able to make 6, 7 figures right out of school. But I will have you know that a 7-figure job is going to require a whole lot of your life. I know very few 7-figure jobs, 6 figures, 7 figures. I'm talking about high 6 figures here, 7-figure jobs that would allow you live your life and take advantage of your youthful years. If you get them in your youthful years, they're going to hamper you. Like my son's white sneakers, they're going to stop you from being an interactive 21-year-old and an adventurous 20-something-year-old, a daring 20-something-year-old. They're going to stop you from doing that. They're going to make you grow up too fast. Having that apartment of your own, beginning to pay rent early, is going to make you grow up so fast that you are not going to get to enjoy that phase of your life called your youthful years. Because to keep those white sneakers, you are going to have to comport yourself in certain ways that you cannot afford to jump into muddy puddles and run around with your friends and stuff like that. And some young people have mortgaged the joy and the experience of being youthful. I see a lot of young people choose ambition over the youthful adventure of discovery, of trying out, of meeting people, of being strong. And they are living lives of 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. A lot of things have already been mortgaged. You're never going to be young again. You're never going to be that age again. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And I can guarantee you, by the time you get to my age, you're in your 40s, you are going to regret missing out on being in your 20s or your early 30s. You're going to regret it if you didn't take advantage of it. Just like if I had made these sneakers stop my son from being an 8-year-old boy, he's going to get to a stage where he is 18, desiring to do what 8-year-olds are doing. He's going to be socially awkward at 18, all because of a pair of white sneakers. Some of you are going to regret having incredibly committing jobs that pay well financially at 20-something. Because at 40-something, you're going to realize how much of life you've missed out on. Some of you will not have relationships because you have jobs that allow you to work or that commit you to work very long hours, 6 days a week. So a lot of you will find yourself unmarried at 40, not being able to commit to a relationship, a string of broken relationships, because you had no time to commit and to actually experience love in your youthful years. Some of you are going to regret when your parents pass away because they would not spending enough time with them or asking them questions that you really wanted answers to in your youthful years. Some of you are not going to be able to be good parents because you never gave your parents the opportunity to parent you when you were in your 20s. You moved away from the house so early, independent, left them where they were. And so when you begin to have kids and they begin to get into their 20s, you don't even know what to do with them because you have no experiences to pull from. Life isn't all about money. A lot of times when we over prioritize money, we distort the course of our own lives. The race for money has made people, commit to marriages too fast. And this is where I'm going to talk to young ladies. You just want to be financially free, financial freedom. So you see yourself go ahead and just marry the first guy that seems like if he can take care of you because he's so well to do financially. And then you realize that your youthful years are lost because maybe he's so much older than you that he really, you really cannot do youthful things together as a couple because the guy that was your age was moving too slowly for you. So you settled for a guy that was like 20, 25 years older than you, who cannot keep up with you. And so he would rather slow you down. And then you see yourself as a 20-something-year-old lady that is missing out on her youth. And when you start approaching your 40s, you really begin to regret those things. You really begin to regret it. I guess the essence of today's podcast is to ask us to be wise with our choices. Some things look good, optics-wise. They look good in terms of how they make you look, appearance, how they kind of position you in society. But then we must be careful because some of these things can play a huge part in distorting our lives, making us miss out on years that we would never get back. You don't understand this. You would never get those years back. You have just 12 months to experience a particular age. Just 12 months. It goes by so fast. Every age comes with an experience that you should have. A blessing of an experience that you should have. Never going to come back. Every age bracket, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, they come with a blessing. But a lot of us mortgage these blessings because of ambitions that we have. But you can never get time back. Never get time back. I see so many people in their 70s, and the way they're acting like 40-year-old, 30-year-old men. The way they dress. Like they're going through, it's not even a midlife crisis anymore, because by the time you're in 70, you're not in your midlife anymore. But you see them acting, going to clubs, the way they're acting with young ladies, kind of fast cars they are driving at 70. They can't keep up with those lives. A 70-year-old man should not be acting in particular ways, dressing in particular ways, experimenting with his hair, experimenting with wearing jewelry on his ears, experimenting with nose rings. But that's because in his 20s and his 30s, he was chasing things that made him miss out on that age bracket. And then in 70s, when he has all the finances, he feels empty. And then he feels the financial freedom gives him the liberty to go back to his 20s. But then he now looks like a joke. He looks like a joke. So for someone listening today, I want you to really, really consider your decisions. Especially if you are in your youthful years. Take some time to think about the things you are mortgaging for optics. Ask yourself if you really, really feel like you are really exploring that age that you are in. Ask yourself if you think in 20 years' time, you can look back and say, I didn't leave anything in my childhood or in my youth. For me personally, I'm very thankful for the youth I had. When people tell me I wish I could go back to being 20, I don't wish I could go back, because I was a 20-year-old. I milked it for everything it was, every single thing. I say it every time. I didn't move out of my parents' house till I was 31 years old. So when it comes to my relationship with my parents, it's great. You understand? In terms of, I sucked the marrow out of that bone. You understand? I sucked the marrow out of the bone. It wasn't what a lot of other people were doing. But then, I'm grateful for how much time of intimacy I was able to have with my parents. I see a lot of my peers right now, when they lose their parents, they are so sad and devastated and like, oh man, I wish I spent more time. I wish I visited them more often, but the job won't allow. And what they are able to do is buy lavish caskets in exclusive cemeteries with no memories. No memories. Sometimes it might seem like you are making progress career-wise, but you're actually retarding when it comes to exploring the possibilities and the adventure of being a particular age. You are retarding psychologically. Psychologically. A lot of people talk about Michael Jackson and how, towards the end of this career, there were a lot of allegations, but we're not going to focus on allegations. What we do know is for a fact, Michael Jackson, when he was a young man, didn't go out playing. He was in the studio recording, making money for the family, him and his brothers. Now, most of them have lopsided lives. From Michael to Janet to the other brothers. Lopsided. A lot of them lopsided lives. Because they missed out on their childhood. And then you see Michael Jackson in his 40s going out to toy shops to buy toys that are meant for 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. Has a Ferris wheel in his house as a 40-year-old man. Because he missed out. He missed out. Started asking 11-year-olds, 13-year-olds to come for sleepovers. And that's why those allegations had so much substance to them, because it was awkward. But that was a man that missed out on his early years. Even though people were admiring him and saying, oh, see this young man at the height of his music career, it came as a cost. And when you think about it, was it really worth that? Was his life really worth all his achievement in music? That's something you need to ask yourself. I hope someone listening to this podcast today can get the gist of what I'm trying to say. That job you have right now, taking your 5 a.m. to 11 p.m., Mondays to Saturdays, and some days Sundays. Is it really worth it? Is that 7-figure salary really worth buying your youth? Is it really? And for the person who is aspiring, looking up to that person that is missing out of their youth and saying, I want to be like that person, you really need to sit down and really think if that's what you want. Because my son couldn't wear white sneakers and be an 80-year-old. But I would rather he was an 80-year-old than to come back home with a pair of fresh white sneakers. The sneakers weren't worth that much. They were beautiful, but they were not as beautiful as watching my son play as an 8-year-old. They were expensive, man, but they don't cost as much as my son missing out on his childhood. My name is Tola T.A. Alabi, and you've been listening to my podcast, ProUp Masterclass.